Hello, welcome to my presentation in which you'll find out that everything you've ever learned about generating leads and growing your business is wrong. This presentation will take about 20 minutes and I think by the end of it you'll agree that what I'm saying is correct. So what you're going to find out is the difference between strategic and tactical marketing. Tactical marketing is what most businesses do, but strategic marketing is what they should be doing, and there's a big difference between the two. You'll find out what's meant by the term creative and repetitive marketing, which is a form of tactical marketing, and again it's inappropriate for small businesses, although it is what the big companies tend to do. You'll find out that, again, certainly for small businesses, it's not about building your brand. It's about other things other than building your brand, and building your brand just won't work. You'll find out what's meant by the buyer's journey and how, if you know what the buyer's journey is and how to accompany the buyer on the buyer's journey, you're much more likely to close the business at the end of the day. And you'll find out what's meant by the marketing or the conversion equation, which basically shows you the way in which you convert a potential inquiry into business. Again, most businesses get this wrong. So, when I say everything is wrong, we need to go back to basics and discover that there are two main components to any marketing plan. There's what's called strategic marketing and there's what's called tactical marketing. Now, strategic marketing is effectively the content of your message. So it's what you say and it's how you say it. Tactical marketing, on the other hand, is all to do with where you say it. So it's the execution of the strategic marketing. So it's the placing of ads, it's the building a website, it's the attending of trade shows or going to network events, etc., etc. The key to effective marketing is to actually get the strategic marketing side right, not the tactical. The strategic side is far more important. So what you say in your marketing and how you say it is almost always far more important than where you say it. Which is not to say that both aren't important, they both are. It's just that the one that most people focus on is tactical marketing, but the really important one, certainly most small business owners neglect, is strategic marketing. During this presentation, you're going to learn how to say things in a way that will make a profound difference, therefore, in your marketing results. Now, instead of using marketing to educate and facilitate the decision-making process and build the case as to why your product or service is the best on the market, most businesses don't do that. They just fill their marketing with jargon, and really all they're saying is, buy it from me because I want you to give me the money instead of my competitor. And customers, prospects have just become jaded and resist marketing because of that. Because what they want is they want to feel empowered. They want to be given information that enables them to make their decision as to whether it's the right thing to do to buy this product and who's the best person to buy it from. And no one's actually giving them that information. So, if you think about it, there are actually two sides to your business. There's the inside reality, which is what you know about why your business is the best and why you should be the person that people buy from and why your product's better than the others. But then there's the outside perception, which is what the outside market knows about your business. So the inside reality encompasses everything you do that you know that makes your business great. It's your value to the marketplace, in other words. Everything you currently know about marketing, though, doesn't allow you to accurately portray your inside reality to the outside world. And this is basically a product of being told to do things the wrong way for decades, being conditioned to do things the wrong way. And we've almost now taken it for granted that what the marketing people tell us is correct, and it just isn't, certainly for most small businesses. So let's just go back to the very early days. What used to happen was that marketing was comparative in nature. So ads would say, we're better for this, that and the other reason based on this, that and the other piece of information or criteria. And in those days, basically marketing did a good job because it built the case as to why your inside reality, what you knew about the business, why that was the most suitable for the prospects that you were targeting. So the result then was that the outside perception was generally a pretty good reflection of the company's inside reality. However, then what happened was in 1945, just after the end of the Second World War, in Britain and the US and in other countries, the most significant event ever in marketing occurred because that was when commercial television first came in. There were 3 channels in the US, I think it was 1 in the UK, but basically there were very few channels. So therefore, because there were so few channels and because it was so new, demand quickly outstripped supply, the prices shot through the roof, and therefore commercials became shorter and shorter. They shrank down from being 2 minutes to 30 seconds. Now, if you think about it, in 30 seconds you haven't really got time to educate and build your case and convince the outside world of the internal reality of your business. So instead of trying to do this, companies basically changed their tactics, and instead of trying to actually explain why their product or service was better than the others, they just reverted to using slogans. And that change made it harder and harder for the company's outside perception to accurately therefore reflect its inside reality. Now, if we agree that marketing's first job is simply to get the prospect's attention, then in a 30-second ad, that's not a problem. We can get the attention, and we do that by, gimmicks, headlines, slogans, etc. But then you should facilitate the decision-making process, and that's where the problem with the 30-second ads is. You haven't got time to do that. However, companies and ad agencies found that although they couldn't give all the information out and engage with clients in 30 seconds, they also found that actually it wasn't really in practice a problem. They didn't really need to do it. And the reason they didn't need to do it was because there were so few competitors who could afford to run the TV adverts in competition against them that actually, the competition was so few that it wasn't an issue. They could spend a ton of money running these 30-second ads, and they basically won by default. So a company's inside reality and outside perception didn't really have to match up, because it was all about repeating slogans and claims often enough that they became ingrained in the prospects' minds. So the focusing for all marketing and advertising shifted to simply getting the prospect's attention. Now this became a new creative approach, and it took over advertising as we know it and soon began to fill all other advertising media. So what happened was, because it worked on 30-second TV adverts, it basically started to be the norm for other types of adverts like Google AdWords, newspaper, magazines, billboards, yellow pages, etc. Once this new creative message was in place, the big companies just simply spent more and more money giving people no option but to remember their message. So it was all about repetition and remember. And it became called C&R advertising, which stands for C for creativity, i.e. slogans and jargon and gimmicks, and R for repetition, i.e. the more often you repeat it, the more it'll just become part of someone's consciousness and they just remember it. And that's basically what we mean by the era of the brand builders. So that's basically what brand building was all about. Now, the trouble is, all of us alive today grew up in this era of the brand builders, and we've all basically become conditioned that that's the approach that should be followed by everybody. We've learned that marketing and advertising, we've been told, and we've learned, although we've learned it incorrectly, that the outside perception no longer has to reflect the inside reality. And what's happened now is that you've got jargon in all types of marketing and advertising. And if you think of jargon, what we really mean is cliches, phrases that are just commonplace and predictable. They don't really say anything, but they state it as if they are original or significant. So adverts are just full of them. Adverts and marketing, they're just full of this jargon. Now, business have only got 30 seconds to try to convey what makes them special, so they lump it all into jargon. So examples would be such as largest selection, most professional, lowest prices, highest quality, best service, fastest, most convenient, largest in the country, largest in the state, more honest, we're the expert. You see all these everywhere you look. Brochures, flyers, adverts, they're just full of it. We specialise, we work harder. Get the job done right the first time. Or slogans and jargon. Been in business for, it doesn't matter how long you've been in business for, as far as the consumer's concerned, because it's all a question of what can you do for them. However, there seems to be this idea that the longer you've been in business, the better you are. So if you've been in business 20 years and someone else has been in business 23 years, does that make them better than you? Now, you can actually spot this jargon quite simply. There's 2 tests for it. One is it what you would hope so anyway? So if you can say, well, I would hope so, or certainly hope so, that would be a test. So, for instance, if you say we offer the best quality, or we get it right first time, well, the answer would be, well, I would hope so. So that means it's just jargon. The second one would be, who else can say that? Now, this is really important, because the simple answer is that anyone can say that. And the trouble is, if all you're saying is making these sort of claims, these sort of slogan and jargony type claims, anyone else can do the same, which means that from the outside world's point of view, you're all the same, and it doesn't really matter then how good your product or service is. So you then stop thinking in terms of what can I do and start thinking in terms of who else can say what I say. And if anybody and everybody can say it, then you need to change it. So let's just look at some examples. Daycare providers, childminder providers. Why should parents choose them instead of all the others in the local area? Well, here's the typical sort of information you would get on an advert or a brochure. High quality, attention to detail. All of this is, I would hope so. We supervise our staff better. Better than who? We're honest. I would hope so. We've taken care of more than 200 kids. Okay. Nothing but jargon. All of those would be, I would hope so, and all of them would also be, who else can say that? And probably all of the other daycare or childcare providers in the area can say it. So, some more examples. Safe, nurturing, creative environment. Optimise your child's development. Acclaimed by thousands of parents, etc., etc., etc. Basically, they're all telling the world how clever we are. They're not actually appealing to the prospect out there as to what they're looking for and what they want. So let's find out three very important things about how the brain works. There's something known as downtime, there's uptime, and there's the reticular activation system. The reticular activator is a part of the brain that's on the lookout 24/7, even when you're asleep. And what happens is it's constantly scanning the environment, looking for things that fall into any of these three categories. Things that are familiar, things that are unusual. Now, both of those are topics that are often used in television adverts. So something familiar, something unusual, something amusing. And the third one is things that are problematic to you, the prospect. So if you have a problem or an issue that you don't want, and you see something that relates to that, that will grab your attention. And what happens is the reticular activator moves the brain from downtime, where the brain's on autopilot, if you like, into uptime, where it pays particular attention. And all of these things are called activators. So what does this have to do with marketing? Well, actually a huge amount. Because if you understand what makes people wake up and pay attention to your message, then that's very important. But the trouble is, once you've got them to that interrupt stage to pay attention, you should then move on to engage with them. And when we engage with the prospect, we increase our chances of selling to the people we've engaged with by 1,000%. The trouble with creativity is its main purpose in advertising is to dream up something weird, strange, shocking, unusual, amusing, to snap you out of downtime and into uptime. And that's known as the interrupt, or the slogan, or the headline. The key is, though, that once the brain is activated, it needs to be engaged, or it wants to be engaged. It's just like being asked a question and not being told the answer. Immediately, subconsciously, the brain searches for additional clarifying information, additional facts. And if it finds them, it'll become engaged, and if not, it quickly reverts back into downtime. We call these important, relevant issues hot buttons. Now, going back to the creative and repetitive adverts, they don't engage, they just get the brain into uptime, but because they do it repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly, it sticks in the memory. But that doesn't work for smaller businesses who can't afford to spend the millions of pounds involved to actually keep repeating these TV type adverts. For most small businesses, for most other businesses, you have to engage by interrupting, by appealing to a hot button, an emotional issue that someone's got that they don't want, and then by giving information which basically promises a solution to that hot button issue. So what happens is, if you've got an issue and you see something that relates to that issue, it's relevant to you, that interrupts. And if it's relevant for you and at this point in life, then okay, you're in uptime. So the activator is something that snaps a person from downtime to uptime. It's based on something that's familiar, unusual, or the most powerful one is it's problematic. However, it's only a hot button if it does appeal to this emotional issue that you as the individual have got. So now let's look at the way the buyer's journey works. The buyer's journey basically says that on the left, someone starts out not knowing about your product or service or why they need it. they start to become aware of reasons why maybe they should buy this product or service. They move along the buyer's journey. They then start to work out reasons why maybe they shouldn't, which is objections. And then they get to the stage where they've decided they do need to buy this product or service. Now they have to decide who to buy it from, which is the vendor selection. At any given time, of the 100% of people who could buy your product or service, only 1% of those prospects are likely to be in the buyer now stage. So your job is to accompany them along the buyer's journey so that when they come to the vendor selection stage and the now buyer stage, it's you that they will see as the logical choice to buy from. So what they're looking all along the way for is information about why they should buy the product, about why they should overcome their objections and still buy the product, and then about who they should buy the product from. Now, in order to move people along the buyer's journey, you need to be aware of the conversion equation. And the conversion equation has 4 main components. The first is the interrupt, which is getting the prospects to pay attention to your marketing, which is what creative and repetitive marketing does do through unusual, weird slogans, headlines. It does interrupt. However, what you then need to do is to engage. And the conversion equation basically says that if you interrupt by focusing on an emotional hot button that the prospect has, an issue they don't want, and then you engage by promising them that there is a solution to that hot button issue, then you are taking them from the interrupt stage through to the engage stage, which is what most tactical marketing and what most creative and repetitive marketing just doesn't do. You then need to educate them, which is basically giving them the information they're looking for as to why this solution that you've promised them could be something they need to buy. And then you need to give them an offer, which is a low or no risk way to take the next step on the buyer's journey or in the sales process. An offer being low or no risk generally means you would provide them with some information which takes them further on the buyer's journey, hand in hand with you. You're nurturing them along the way, basically. So here's an example. This is a child psychologist. So the headline, the interrupt, says, you've got an emotional issue that you want to get rid of, which is you're sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, belligerent attitude of your child. The engage, which is the sub-headline, says, well, there is a solution to this problem. Now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. So you've got an emotional hot button and you've been promised a solution to it. You then have the information stage, which is the video that basically says, this is how I can help you solve this problem. And then you have the low risk or no risk offer. All you've got to do is leave your name and email address. No one's going to speak to you. You're not going to be sold to. You can unsubscribe whenever you want to. But if you leave me that information, I will send you a free report, a free piece of information. So an informational free offer, which tells you how you can solve this emotional hot button issue that you've got. So that's a classic example of interrupt, engage, educate, and then a risk-free offer. If you're prepared to spend just 45 minutes of your time with me, then I'll promise to find you a minimum of £10,000 in additional untapped revenue that you can put into your pocket immediately. The way we would do it is through a telephone interview, and the reason I can do it and not charge you any money for it is because I'm writing another book, and in the book I want examples to prove that this 5-stage profit formula that I use actually works, and I can document it with real life examples. So I can promise you it's not only true, but it's very easy to do for any small business. And if you go to Bernard Keevy at exponentialgrowthforyou.com and say that you'd like to complete the £10,000 challenge, then we can arrange a time. We'll do the entire thing by phone and screen share, so it's super convenient for you. And I promise you that, one, I won't try and sell you anything. What I'm looking for is your permission to let me use the information in my book. And 2, I do promise you that this £10,000 is a real offer. It's genuine, real money, and it's genuinely easy to do for any small business. You can also have a look at a free educational video which explains why most businesses make 3 huge business lead generation mistakes. So it's entitled The 3 Biggest Lead Generation Mistakes Most Small Business Owners Make. all you need to do is go to www.exponentialgrowthforyou.com. All you'll need to do is put your email address in and you'll be able to download that video free. And again, I think you'll find that really interesting, because again, you'll see that most small businesses particularly do it the wrong way and have been told to do it the wrong way, traditionally. So don't wait, reply right now and we can get started. You are in for the experience of your life, so I'd just like to wish you here's to your success, and thank you very much for paying attention and listening for the last 20 minutes or so.